Greetings everyone. We're gathered here to figure out WTF was, is, or will be. MiG-21. Let's dive in. The Mikoyan MiG-29, known by NATO as Fulcrum, is a twin-engine fighter jet designed during the 1970s in the Soviet Union. The Mikoyan Design Bureau developed the MiG-29 as an air superiority fighter, intended to rival new U.S. aircraft like the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle and the General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcon. The MiG-29 officially joined the Soviet Air Forces in 1983. Initially built to engage enemy aircraft, many MiG-29s have since been adapted for multiple roles, allowing them to carry out various missions. These versatile fighters are often equipped with air-to-surface weapons and precision-guided munitions. Over time, several key variants of the MiG-29 have been developed, including the multi-role MiG-29M and the carrier-based MiG-29K. The most advanced version in this family is the MiG-35. Later models of the MiG-29 feature enhancements like upgraded engines, glass cockpits compatible with HOTAS controls, modern radar, infrared search and track sensors, and significantly larger fuel capacity. Some of these aircraft are also capable of aerial refueling. After the Soviet Union dissolved, many of its former republics continued to operate the MiG-29, with the largest fleet maintained by the Russian Aerospace Forces. Although the Russian Aerospace Forces aimed to upgrade their MiG-29 fleet to the modernized MiG-29 SMT standard, financial challenges have slowed these efforts. Despite this, the MiG-29 remains a popular export, with over 30 countries either currently using or having used this aircraft. As of 2024, Flight Global estimates that there are 809 MiG-29s of various types still in active service, making it the fifth most common fighter jet in operation today. Development. Origins. During the mid-1960s, the U.S. Air Force faced significant challenges over Vietnam. Supersonic fighter bombers like the F-105 Thunderchief, optimized for low-altitude bombing, struggled against older MiG-17s and more advanced MiGs, which were much more maneuverable. To regain air superiority in Vietnam, the U.S. shifted its focus back to air combat, relying on the F-4 Phantom as a multi-role fighter. In response, the Soviet Union developed the MiG-23. By the late 1960s, the U.S. initiated the FX program to create a dedicated air superiority fighter, resulting in the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle being ordered for production in late 1969. As the Cold War intensified, the Soviets recognized the need to counter potential U.S. technological advances, making the development of a new air superiority fighter a high priority. In 1969, the Soviet General Staff issued a requirement for an Advanced Frontline Fighter, PFI. The specifications were ambitious, demanding long range, excellent agility, Mach 2+ speed, and the ability to operate from short, rugged runways. To achieve these goals, the Russian Aerodynamics Institute (SADI) teamed up with the Sukhoi Design Bureau to work on the aircraft's aerodynamics. By 1971, Soviet planners realized the need for two distinct types of fighters. The PFI program was complemented by the Advanced Lightweight Tactical Fighter (LPFI) program, with plans for the Soviet fighter force to consist of about 33% PFI and 67% LPFI aircraft. This mirrored the U.S. lightweight fighter program that led to the development of the General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcon and the Northrop YF-17. Sukhoi was tasked with the PFI, resulting in the Sukhoi Su-27, while Mikoyan took on the LPFI, leading to the creation of the MiG-29. Detailed design work on the MiG-29A, known internally as Mikoyan Product 9, began in 1974. The first flight took place on October 6, 1977. U.S. reconnaissance satellites first spotted the pre-production MiG-29 in November of that year, observing it at the Zhukovsky Flight Test Center near Ramenskoye, leading to its code name, RAM-L. As the MiG-29 entered frontline service with the Soviet Air Forces in the mid-1980s, the division of labor between the heavy Su-27 and the lighter MiG-29 became clear. The Su-27 was assigned to deep air-to-air missions against high-value NATO targets, while the MiG-29 took on the role of replacing the MiG-23 in frontline aviation, focusing on closer, more immediate threats. Introduction and improvements. When the MiG-29 was first introduced in the West, it was given the NATO reporting name, Fulcrum A. Interestingly, this name was assigned because the pre-production version, the MiG-29A, was still largely unknown outside the Soviet Union at the time. Unlike Western aircraft, the Soviet Union rarely assigned official names to its planes, though nicknames were common. Some Soviet pilots found Fulcrum to be an apt description of the aircraft's role and even used it unofficially in their own ranks. The MiG-29 was widely exported, but these versions were often downgraded. The MiG-29-912A was designed for Warsaw Pact nations, while the MiG-29-912B was intended for non-Warsaw Pact countries. These export models featured less advanced avionics and lacked the capability to deliver nuclear weapons. During the 1980s, Mikoyan introduced an improved version known as the MiG-29S. This upgrade allowed the use of longer-range R-27E air-to-air missiles. The MiG-29S also featured a distinctive dorsal hump on the upper fuselage, which housed a jamming system and additional fuel capacity. With reinforced airframes, these jets could carry up to 8,800 pounds of weapons. These enhancements were included in both newly built fighters and upgrades to existing MiG-29s. Although the Soviet Union deployed refined versions of the MiG-29 with better avionics, some of Mikoyan's more ambitious multi-role variants, like the carrier-based MiG-29K, were not produced in large numbers. The development of the MiG-29K was halted for over a decade before it was revived, eventually entering service with the Indian Navy on the INS Vikramaditya and the Russian Navy's Admiral Kuznetsov-class aircraft carrier. Mikoyan also developed other improved versions, including the MiG-29M and MiG-29SMT. Several upgrade programs have been implemented for the MiG-29 over the years. These typically include integrating avionics that meet modern standards, extending the aircraft's service life to 4,000 flight hours, enhancing safety, and improving combat effectiveness and reliability. Replacement. On December 11, 2013, Russian Deputy Prime Minister Dmitry Rogozin announced plans to develop a new fighter to replace the MiG-29. While the Sukhoi Su-27 and its derivatives were being replaced by the newer Sukhoi Su-57, a different design was needed to succeed the lighter MiGs. An earlier attempt to create a replacement, the MiG 1.44 demonstrator, failed in the 1990s. The idea resurfaced in 2001 with some interest from India, though they later chose a variant of the Su-57 instead. Russian Air Force commanders have hinted that the new design might feature a single-engine airframe utilizing the Su-57's engine, radar, and weapons. This new fighter has since been revealed as the Sukhoi Su-75 Checkmate. Design. The MiG-29 a member of the Swift's aerobatic team, traces its design roots back to the original PFI requirements set by Sagi. While it shares broad aerodynamic characteristics with the Sukhoi Su-27, there are key differences that set the MiG-29 apart. The MiG-29 features a mid-mounted swept wing design with leading-edge root extensions, LERXs, swept at about 40 degrees. The aircraft also has swept tailplanes and two vertical fins positioned on booms outside of the engines. The wings include automatic slats on the leading edges, 4 segments in earlier models, expanding to 5 in some of the later versions. The trailing edge of the wings houses maneuvering flaps and wingtip ailerons. In terms of controls, the MiG-29 operates with hydraulic systems and a SAO 4513 3-axis autopilot. Unlike the Su-27, it does not have a fly-by-wire control system. Despite this, the MiG-29 is highly agile, boasting impressive instantaneous and sustained turn capabilities, as well as a high tolerance for high angle of attack maneuvers. The airframe is primarily made from aluminum, with some composite materials incorporated into its construction. It's designed to withstand maneuvers up to 9 grams. To assist pilots, the controls include soft limiters that prevent exceeding G-force and angle of attack limits, though these can be manually overridden if needed. Power plant and range. The MiG-29 is powered by two Klimov Road 3.3 turbofan engines, positioned wide apart to enhance the aircraft's lift and maneuverability. These engines are each rated at 11,200 pounds of thrust in dry mode and 18,300 pounds with afterburners engaged. The space between the engines helps reduce wing loading, which improves the jet's overall agility. Air intake ramps under the leading edge extensions, LERXs, feed the engines, adjusting to allow for high-speed flight. Due to the engine's short combustor design, they produce more visible smoke compared to their contemporaries. To adapt to rough field operations, the main air inlets can be closed completely, using auxiliary inlets on the upper fuselage for takeoff, landing, and low-altitude flight to avoid debris ingestion. The newer MiG-35 variant replaced these dorsal louvers with mesh screens in the main intakes, similar to the Su-27's design. The MiG-29 has a ferry range of approximately 930 miles without external fuel tanks and up to 1,300 miles with them. The original MiG-29, Fulcrum A, holds about 1,100 gallons of fuel in 6 internal tanks, with additional capacity in later models. For extended missions, it can carry a 400-gallon centerline drop tank and two 300-gallon underwing tanks. Newer versions also feature in-flight refueling probes on the port side, enabling longer flight durations through the probe and drogue system. Cockpit. The MiG-29 cockpit is equipped with a traditional center stick and left-hand throttle setup, with the pilot seated in a Zvezda K36DM ejection seat. The instrumentation is mostly conventional, with dials, a head-up display, HUD, and a helmet-mounted Shell 3 display. However, it lacks the HOTAS, hands-on throttle and stick, configuration found in more modern fighters. The cockpit design emphasizes familiarity with earlier Soviet aircraft like the MiG-23 rather than ergonomics. Despite this, the MiG-29 offers better visibility than most earlier Soviet jets, thanks to its high-mounted bubble canopy. Later models introduced glass cockpits with liquid crystal multifunction displays, MFDs, and true HOTAS capabilities. Sensors. The MiG-29's baseline model, the 9.12, comes equipped with the Phasatron RLPK-29 radar fire control system, which includes the N019 Sapphire-29 radar and a TS-100 digital computer. The N019 radar, while not entirely new, is an evolution of the system used in the MiG-23. Initially, Phasatron NIIR aimed to create a modern radar system for the MiG-29, but the timeline constraints forced them to modify the existing Sapphire-23 megaliters architecture instead. This resulted in a radar system with limitations, affecting the MiG-29's ability to detect and track targets effectively at the ranges needed for R-27 and R-77 missiles. The radar system was further compromised when Phasatron designer Adolf Tolkachev leaked information to the CIA, leading to his execution in 1986. In response, the Soviets quickly developed the N019M Topaz radar for the MiG-29S, although it still faced performance issues. The latest upgrade, the MiG-29M, features the N010 Zhuk M radar, which offers better range, improved processing power, and the ability to engage multiple targets, along with compatibility with the Vympel R-77 missile. Armament. The MiG-29 is armed with a single GSH-31 30mm cannon located in the port wing root, initially equipped with 150 rounds, though later models reduced this to 100 rounds to save weight. Early MiG-29s could not fire the cannon with a centerline fuel tank attached, as it blocked the shell ejection port, a design flaw corrected in later versions like the MiG-29S. The aircraft has 3 pylons under each wing, with some variants offering a 4th, providing up to 6 or 8 hardpoints. The inboard pylons can carry a 300-gallon fuel tank, a Vympel R-27 medium-range air-to-air missile, or unguided bombs and rockets. Some Soviet MiG-29s were also capable of carrying a single nuclear bomb on the port inboard station. The outer pylons typically carry R-73 dogfight missiles, although some users still employ the older R-60 missiles. A 400-gallon tank can also be fitted to the centerline between the engines. Recently, the U.S. has supplied AGM-88 HARM missiles to Ukraine, which have reportedly been adapted to be fired from MiG-29s. This was confirmed after Russian forces released footage showing a tail fin from one of these missiles. U.S. Undersecretary of Defense for Policy Colin Kahl noted that spare parts and other support have helped Ukraine keep more of its MiG-29s operational for extended periods. He also mentioned the inclusion of anti-radiation missiles in recent Presidential Drawdown Authority packages, designed to disrupt Russian radars. Soviet-era aircraft lacked the digital architecture to easily integrate NATO standard weapons, but with crude modifications, such as using an E-tablet, it becomes possible. Operational history. The true capabilities of the MiG-29 were largely speculative when it first emerged in 1977, and it wasn't until the mid-1980s that a clearer picture formed. Thanks to ongoing intelligence efforts and increased access through Soviet foreign sales, a fuller understanding of its performance became possible. Early models of the MiG-29 were highly agile and could compete with contemporary aircraft like the F-18 and F-16. However, their relatively limited fuel capacity confined them to short-range air defense roles. These early versions also lacked advanced features like HOTAS and inter-aircraft data links, requiring pilots to operate the controls in a way that was less intuitive and more heads down. This meant that even skilled pilots were often unable to fully exploit the MiG-29's combat potential. Over time, upgrades were made to address these limitations. The Soviet Union exported the MiG-29 to several countries, but the jet's operational history has been mixed across different air forces. Operating a fourth-generation fighter like the MiG-29 requires extensive pilot training, robust air defense infrastructure, and regular maintenance and upgrades, which some countries were better equipped to handle than others. Soviet Union and successor states. The MiG-29 made its first public appearance in the West when the Soviet Union displayed it in Finland on July 2, 1986. Later, in September 1988, two MiG-29s were showcased at the Farnborough Air Show in Britain. The following year, the aircraft performed at the 1989 Paris Air Show, where one MiG-29 was involved in a non-fatal crash during the event's first weekend. This was only the second time Soviet fighters had appeared at an international air show since the 1930s, and Western observers were impressed by its agility and apparent capabilities. After the Soviet Union dissolved, most MiG-29s continued to serve in the newly formed Russian Air Force. Russia. In July 1993, two Russian Air Force MiG-29s collided in mid-air during the Royal International Air Tattoo, crashing away from the public. Fortunately, no one on the ground was seriously injured, and both pilots ejected safely. By October 17, 2008, the Russian Air Force had grounded all of its MiG-29s following a crash in Siberia. Another MiG-29 crashed in December 2008 in eastern Siberia, leading Russian officials to admit that many of their MiG-29s were no longer combat-ready due to poor maintenance and age. About 70% were considered too old to fly. After some repairs and inspections, the MiG-29s were cleared to resume flights by February 2009, though by March, 91 of them required additional repairs due to corrosion, leaving only about 100 still airworthy. The Russian aerospace forces began updating their older MiG-29s to the newer MiG-29 SMT standard, but financial constraints limited the number of upgrades. Eventually, the Russian Air Force acquired 35 MiG-29 SMTs that had been initially rejected by Algeria. In 2014, Russia ordered 16 new MiG-29 SMTs, with deliveries expected by 2017. On June 4, 2015, a MiG-29 crashed during a training exercise in Astrakhan, and another crashed a month later in the Krasnodar region. The increase in accidents in 2015 was attributed mainly to the higher frequency of flights and training sessions. In April 2008, Georgian officials accused a Russian MiG-29 of shooting down a Georgian Hermes 450 drone, providing video evidence that appeared to show a MiG-29 firing an air-to-air missile. Russia denied involvement, claiming they had no aircraft in the air that day. An investigation by the UN later confirmed that the drone had been downed by a Russian MiG-29 or Su-27 using an R-73 missile. On July 16, 2014, Ukrainian officials claimed a Russian MiG-29 shot down a Ukrainian Su-25 with an R-27T missile, although Russia denied these accusations. In September 2017, Russia deployed several MiG-29 SMT aircraft to Khmeimim Air Base in western Syria. This marked the first time the upgraded MiG-29 SMT took part in the Syrian conflict, where they were involved in bombing missions and escorting strategic bombers. In 2020, 2 Russian-operated MiG-29s crashed near Sirte, Libya. These jets were operated by the Wagner Group, a Russian private military company. Ukraine. During the Russian invasion of Crimea in April 2014, Russian forces reportedly captured 45 Ukrainian Air Force MiG-29s and 4 L-39 combat trainers at Belbek Air Base. However, most of these aircraft were in poor condition. By May, Russian troops had dismantled the planes and returned them to Ukraine. On August 4, 2014, the Ukrainian government announced that several of these aircraft had been restored to operational status and were deployed to support the conflict in eastern Ukraine. In the early stages of the war in Donbass in April 2014, the Ukrainian Air Force deployed a limited number of jet fighters over the Donetsk region, primarily for combat air patrols and shows of force. Notably, a MiG-29 from the Ukrainian Falcon's display team was seen carrying a full air-to-air armament during a low-altitude flyby, highlighting the scarcity of available combat aircraft. On the evening of August 7, 2014, a Ukrainian Air Force MiG-29 Mu-1, identified as Bort number 02 Blue, was shot down by an anti-aircraft missile fired by pro-Russian rebels near Yenikievo. The aircraft exploded mid-air, but the pilot managed to eject safely. Just 10 days later, on August 17, 2014, another MiG-29, Bort number 53 White, was tasked with air-to-ground operations against separatist positions in the Luhansk region. This aircraft was also shot down by pro-Russian rebels, with the pilot successfully ejecting and being recovered by friendly forces. In 2018, Ukraine's Lviv State Aircraft Repair Plant began upgrading the MiG-29 fleet to multi-role capabilities, resulting in the MiG-29 Mu-2 variant. The development was expected to be completed by 2019, with production starting in 2020. The first of these upgraded MiG-29s was delivered to the Ukrainian Air Force in July 2020. By August 2020, Ukraine had entered negotiations with Elbit Systems to further modernize its MiG-29 fleet. On May 29, 2020, Ukrainian MiG-29s participated in the Bomber Task Force in Europe alongside American B-1B bombers for the first time in the Black Sea region. Later that year, in September, Ukrainian MiG-29s and Su-27s engaged in vital integration training with B-52 bombers from the 5th Bomb Wing within Ukraine's airspace. During the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine, Ukrainian Su-27s and MiG-29s were actively used as air superiority fighters, with reports indicating that 10 MiG-29s were lost both on the ground and in combat. In August 2022, a senior U.S. defense official revealed that Ukrainian forces had successfully integrated the AGM-88 HARM missile onto their MiG-29s. This was confirmed by video footage showing upgraded Ukrainian MiG-29s firing the AGM-88 missiles. Despite the missile's reliance on digital displays for targeting, how it was integrated into the MiG-29's analog cockpit remains unclear. The footage suggested that a commercial GPS and a tablet were installed to facilitate this capability. On October 13, 2022, a Ukrainian MiG-29 crashed during a combat mission. The pilot reportedly destroyed a Shahed 136 drone with the aircraft's cannon, but debris from the drone likely struck the plane, forcing the pilot to eject. Ukrainian sources claim the pilot downed 5 drones and 2 cruise missiles before the crash. The downed MiG-29 bore a livery similar to that of the Ukrainian Falcon's display team. According to the Ukrainian State Bureau of Investigation, The jet crashed near a village in northeast Venetia after colliding with debris from the destroyed drone. The pilot was successfully ejected and received medical treatment in a hospital. On September 20, 2023, a Ukrainian MiG-29 was struck by a Zala Lancet drone at Dolgintsevo Air Base near Kryvyi Rih. A second drone acted as a spotter, recording the impact of the first Lancet. Export: India. India was the first country outside the Warsaw Pact to purchase the MiG-29. The Indian Air Force, IAF, placed its initial order for 44 aircraft in 1984, consisting of 40 single-seat MiG-29 9.12Bs and 4 twin-seat MiG-29 UBs. These aircraft were officially inducted into the IAF in 1987. Following this, India ordered an additional 26 aircraft in 1989 and 10 more advanced MiG-29 9.13s in 1994. Over time, these jets have undergone several modifications, including the integration of new avionics, subsystems, turbofan engines, and radars. During the 1999 Kargil War in Kashmir, Indian MiG-29s played a critical role by providing fighter escort for Mirage 2000s, which were tasked with striking targets using laser-guided bombs. The MiG-29's strong performance record led India to sign agreements with Russia in 2005 and 2006 for an $888 million upgrade program. This initiative enhanced the MiG-29's capability to deploy the R-77 RVVAE AA-12 Adder air-to-air missile, which had been tested in October 1998. Additionally, in a $900 million contract, the IAF decided to upgrade all 69 operational MiG-29s. These upgrades included a new avionics suite, replacing the N019 radar with a Phasatron Juk-M radar, and enhancing the aircraft's beyond visual range combat abilities. The upgrade program also included the installation of air-to-air refueling capability to increase the aircraft's endurance. In 2007, India received a license from Russia's Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, HAL, to manufacture 120 Rode 33 Series 3 turbofan engines for this upgrade. The modernization also involved a new weapon control system, improved cockpit ergonomics, and the ability to deploy advanced air-to-air and air-to-ground missiles, as well as guided bombs. The first 6 MiG-29s were upgraded in Russia, with the remaining 63 to be upgraded at HAL's facility in India. Additionally, Israel Aircraft Industries was contracted to provide avionics and subsystems for the upgrade. In March 2009, the IAF expressed concerns after 90 MiG-29s were grounded in Russia. However, after thorough inspections, the IAF cleared all its MiG-29s as safe for flight by March of that year. Indian Defense Minister A.K. Antony acknowledged structural flaws in the MiG-29, specifically a tendency for cracks to develop due to corrosion in the tail fin. Despite these issues, the IAF continued with the upgrade program, sending the first 6 of its 78 MiG-29s to Russia in 2008. The upgrades included phased array radar, PESA, and in-flight refueling capabilities. In January 2010, India and Russia signed a $1.2 billion deal under which the Indian Navy acquired 29 additional MiG-29 kiloseconds, bringing the total number on order to 45. The MiG-29K officially entered service with the Indian Navy on February 19, 2010. The upgrades to the Indian MiG-29s, known as the MiG-29 UPG standard, are similar to the SMT variant but feature a foreign-made avionics suite. The ongoing upgrade to the latest MiG-29 UPG standard includes advanced avionics, Juk-ME radar, enhanced engines, improved weapon control systems, and the DRDO-developed D-29 electronic warfare system, significantly boosting multi-role capabilities and survivability. The first 3 upgraded aircraft were delivered in December 2012, albeit over 2 years behind schedule. On May 8, 2020, an IAF MiG-29 crashed near Jalandhar in Punjab. The pilot ejected safely, and a court of inquiry was ordered to investigate the incident. In 2020, India ordered 21 additional MiG-29s at a reasonable price. These aircraft will be assembled from airframes built in the late 1980s but never used. Mikoyan will upgrade them before delivery to the IAF, making India the last export customer of the original MiG-29 airframe. Russia has submitted a commercial proposal for these 21 refurbished MiG-29s to the IAF. On August 7, 2024, the IAF issued a request for proposal (RFP) to upgrade 24 MiG-29s to integrate HSLD Mk2 bombs missiles with a range of 180 kilometers. This upgrade will include additional hardware such as bomb racks on external hardpoints and the necessary software for the aircraft. The project will be overseen by No. 11 Base Repair Depot (BRD) of the IAF, with plans to equip the entire MiG-29 fleet with these upgrades in phases. The IAF has also sought approval from the Ministry of Defense (MOD) to manufacture the HSLD Mk2 in India. Yugoslavia and Serbia. Yugoslavia was the first European country outside the Soviet Union to acquire the MiG-29, receiving 14 MiG-29 9.12s and 2 MiG-29 UBs from the USSR in 1987 and 1988. These aircraft were assigned to the 127th Fighter Aviation Squadron, stationed at Botanica Air Base, just north of Belgrade, Serbia. During the Yugoslav Wars in the 1990s, the MiG-29 saw limited combat, mainly being used for ground attack missions. In 1991, a Yugoslav MiG-29 destroyed several Croatian Antonov AN-2 aircraft on the ground at Sepin Airfield near Osijek, without suffering any losses. Additionally, at least 2 MiG-29s conducted an airstrike on Banski Dvori, the Croatian government's official residence, on October 7, 1991. After the breakup of Yugoslavia, the MiG-29s continued to serve in the newly formed Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. However, due to a United Nations arms embargo, the condition of these aircraft deteriorated, as they could not be properly maintained. Scheduled overhauls in 1996 and 1997 were not conducted, further affecting their operational readiness. During the NATO intervention in the Kosovo War, 6 Yugoslav MiG-29s were shot down, 4 by USAF F-15s, 1 by a USAF F-16, and 1 by a Royal Netherlands Air Force F-16. One of these losses, according to its pilot, was caused by friendly fire from the ground. Additionally, 4 more MiG-29s were destroyed on the ground during the conflict. There were claims from an Argentine source that a MiG-29 shot down an F-16 on March 26, 1999, but this kill is disputed, as the F-16C in question reportedly crashed in the US on the same day. After the war, the Air Force of Serbia and Montenegro continued to operate its remaining 5 MiG-29s, although at a very low operational rate. By the spring of 2004, there were reports that MiG-29 operations had ceased due to maintenance issues. However, the remaining airframes were eventually sent to Russia for overhaul. In July 2009, a Serbian Air Force MiG-29 crashed over Belgrade, further reducing the small fleet. In November 2016, Russia agreed to donate 6 MiG-29s to Serbia, with the condition that Serbia would cover the $50 million repair costs. By early October 2017, all 6 aircraft had been delivered to Serbia, transported by an Antonov An-124. Later, in February 2019, Belarus formally handed over 4 additional MiG-29s to the Serbian military during a ceremony at the 558th Aircraft Repair Plant in Baranovici. These deliveries brought the Serbian Air Force's fleet to 14 MiG-29s. Serbia has plans to spend between €180 minus 230 million on modernizing its entire MiG-29 fleet. As of 2021, the Serbian Air Force continues to operate 14 MiG-29s. Germany. East Germany acquired 24 MiG-29s, 20 MiG-29s and 4 MiG-29 UBs between 1988 and 1989, which were initially stationed with the 1. JG-3, Vladimir Komaro, Squadron at Prussian in Brandenburg. Following the fall of the Berlin Wall in November 1989 and the reunification of Germany in October 1990, these MiG-29s, along with other aircraft from the East German Air Forces, were integrated into the West German Luftwaffe. Initially, they retained their original squadron designation, but by April 1991, the MiG-29 squadrons were reorganized into a test wing, or Probungsgeschwader MiG-29, which eventually became JG-73 Steinhoff. In June 1993, they were relocated to Lage near Rostock. The MiG-29's capabilities were put to the test during joint exercises with U.S. fighters, where it demonstrated impressive maneuverability at slow speeds and superior close-range combat capabilities thanks to its helmet-mounted weapons sight, HMS, and Wimpel R-73 dogfight missile. German pilots, however, noted that while the MiG-29 excelled in close-range engagements, it struggled in beyond-visual range combat, especially against the advanced radar and missile systems of American aircraft like the F-15 and F-16. The MiG-29's limitations in night and bad weather conditions also put it at a disadvantage in certain combat scenarios. As a result, the Luftwaffe assessed that the MiG-29 was best suited for point defense missions rather than offensive fighter sweeps over hostile airspace. This assessment led to the decision not to deploy the MiG-29s during the Kosovo War in Operation Allied Force, partly due to the lack of NATO-specific communication tools and identification systems on the aircraft. Starting in 1993, the German MiG-29s were stationed with JG-73 Steinhoff at Lage. During their service, one MiG-29, 29+09, was lost in an accident in 1996 due to pilot error. By 2003, German Air Force pilots had logged over 30,000 flight hours in the MiG-29. In September 2003, 22 of the remaining 23 aircraft were sold to the Polish Air Force for the symbolic price of €1 each, with the final aircraft being transferred in August 2004. The last MiG-29, 29+03, was preserved and put on display at Lage. Libya. In 2020, reports surfaced that MiG-29s were being flown by forces aligned with Khalifa Haftar in Libya. On September 11, 2020, United States Africa Command announced that two MiG-29s, operated by Russian-speaking personnel, had crashed in Libya under unknown circumstances, one on June 28, 2020, and the other on September 7, 2020. It was also reported that additional MiG-29s and Su-24s were to be delivered to the Libyan Air Force from Russia. Peru. The Peruvian Air Force purchased 21 MiG-29S fighters from Belarus in 1997 as part of a package deal that also included 18 Su-25 attack aircraft. In 1998, Peru acquired an additional 3 MiG-29s from Russia. Around the same time, Peru contracted Mikoyan to upgrade 8 of these aircraft to the MiG-29 SMP standard, with an option to upgrade the rest of the fleet later. The Peruvian MiG-29s are stationed at FAP Captain José Abelardo Quiñones González International Airport in northern Peru and serve with Escuadrón Aéreo 612, Fighting Roosters. Poland. Poland first acquired 12 MiG-29s, consisting of 9 MiG-29S and 3 MiG-29UBs, between 1989 and 1990. These aircraft were stationed at Minsk-Mazowiecki and operated by the 1st Fighter Aviation Regiment, which was reorganized in 2001 into the 1st Tactical Squadron, 1. ELT. In the mid-1990s, Poland expanded its fleet by acquiring 10 used MiG-29s from the Czech Republic, including 9 MiG-29S and 1 MiG-29UB. Following the retirement of Poland's MiG-23s in 1999 and MiG-21s in 2004, the country relied on these 22 MiG-29s as its primary interceptors. In 2004, Poland received 22 MiG-29s from the German Air Force, of which 14 were overhauled and integrated into service, equipping the 41st Tactical Squadron, 41. ELT, at Malbork. By 2008, Poland had become the largest NATO operator of the MiG-29, with a total of 31 active aircraft. These MiG-29s were stationed at 2 bases, the 1st Tactical Squadron at the 23rd Air Base near Minsk-Mazowiecki and the 41st Tactical Squadron at the 22nd Air Base near Malbork. There have been reports suggesting that Poland may have leased a MiG-29 to Israel for evaluation purposes, supported by photographs of a MiG-29 in Israeli use. In addition, 3 Polish MiG-29s were reportedly tested in Israel between April and May 1997 in the Negev desert. In 2011, the Polish Air Force began a modernization program to update its MiG-29 fleet, making them compatible with the Polish F-16s. Poland's MiG-29s have participated in various NATO missions, including the Baltic Air Policing Mission, and served as aggressors in NATO's Tactical Leadership Program in Spain. However, the fleet has also faced challenges, with several crashes occurring between 2017 and 2019, including one fatal incident in 2018. On March 8, 2022, Poland announced its willingness to transfer its operational MiG-29s to the U.S. as part of a plan to provide Ukraine with aircraft for its defense against the Russian invasion. On March 16, 2023, Polish President Andrzej Duda confirmed that Poland would transfer 4 operational MiG-29s to Ukraine, becoming the first NATO member to supply fighter jets to Ukraine. Later, Germany approved the transfer of 5 additional MiG-29s to Ukraine, which had originally belonged to East Germany before being transferred to Poland in 2004. Iraq received a fleet of MiG-29s during the later stages of the Iran-Iraq War and used them to engage Iranian aircraft. By the time of the 1990 invasion of Kuwait, Iraq had 39 MiG-29s in service, although the country was reportedly dissatisfied with the aircraft's capabilities, particularly the lack of advanced missiles like the R-73 and R-27T. Despite this, Iraq modified its MiG-29s to carry additional equipment, including drop tanks and ECM pods. During the 1991 Persian Gulf War, Iraq's MiG-29 saw combat against coalition forces. The U.S. Air Force shot down 5 Iraqi MiG-29s during the conflict. There were claims of other air-to-air engagements, including an Iraqi MiG-29 reportedly downing a British Tornado, although these claims are disputed. After the Gulf War, Iraq's MiG-29 fleet was significantly reduced, with only 12 aircraft remaining operational. Some of the fleet was flown to Iran, while others were damaged or lost in combat. By 1995, Iraq had withdrawn its remaining MiG-29s from service due to the inability to maintain their engines. Following the US-led invasion of Iraq in 2003 and the subsequent disbandment of the Iraqi military, the remaining MiG-29s were decommissioned. Syria. The Syrian Arab Air Force has had several encounters involving its MiG-29s and Israeli fighter jets. One notable incident occurred on June 2, 1989, when 2 Israeli F-15Cs reportedly shot down 2 Syrian MiG-29 as under circumstances that remain unclear. Although the incident is recorded, details are sparse, and it is not widely acknowledged by either side. Another alleged engagement took place on September 14, 2001, when 2 Syrian MiG-29s were reportedly downed by Israeli F-15Cs while intercepting an Israeli reconnaissance aircraft off the coast of Lebanon. However, both Syrian and Israeli authorities deny that this event occurred, leaving the incident shrouded in mystery. During the Syrian civil war, Syrian MiG-29s were actively deployed starting in late October 2013. They were primarily used to strike Free Syrian Army insurgents around Damascus, employing unguided rockets and bombs to target rebel positions. On March 7, 2020, a Syrian MiG-29 SM crashed near Shayrat Air Base, marking the first loss of a MiG-29 in Syrian service since 2001. Some reports suggest that the aircraft may have been shot down by a MANPADS, Man-Portable Air Defense System, operated by Syrian opposition forces, though this has not been conclusively verified. North Korea. North Korea's Korean People's Air Force, KPAF, is believed to operate around 18 MiG-29s, which are assigned to the 55th Air Regiment based at Suncheon Air Base. The fleet includes 13 MiG-29 9.12B Fulcrum S and 2 Fulcrum B trainers, which were delivered in 1987. Additionally, North Korea became the only Cold War-era export customer to license the production of the Fulcrum C variant, designated as the MiG-29 S-13 9.13B Fulcrum C. The components for these Fulcrum C models were delivered to North Korea from the USSR, Russia between 1991 and 1992. However, due to Russia's refusal to supply additional parts, only 3 of these aircraft were completed. The first locally assembled Fulcrum C took to the skies on April 15, 1993. North Korea's MiG-29s gained international attention in March 2003 when a pair of these jets intercepted a USAF RC-135S Cobra Ball reconnaissance aircraft. This encounter provided rare photographic evidence of North Korean MiG-29s in action. Sudan. The Sudanese Air Force has occasionally been reported to use MiG-29s in operations against insurgent forces in Darfur. However, while combat helicopters like the Mi-24 and ground attack aircraft such as the Nanchang A-5 or Su-25 have been documented in the region, no photographic evidence of MiG-29s operating in Darfur has been presented. On May 10, 2008, during an assault by the Darfur rebel group Justice and Equality Movement, JEM, on the Sudanese capital, Khartoum, a Sudanese MiG-29 was reportedly shot down by heavy machine gun fire while attacking a convoy in the Omdurman suburb. The aircraft was piloted by a Russian mercenary who was killed when his parachute failed to deploy after ejecting. On November 14, 2008, the Sudanese Ministry of Defense confirmed that Sudan had acquired 12 MiG-29s from Russia. A Russian source suggested that these aircraft had been delivered prior to 2004. During the brief border conflict between South Sudan and Sudan in April 2012, the Sudan People's Liberation Army, SPLA, claimed to have downed a Sudanese MiG-29 using anti-aircraft guns on April 4, 2012. The Sudanese government denied the claim. Another claim of a downed MiG-29 was made by the SPLA on April 16, 2012, though it was unclear if this was the same incident or a separate one. More recently, on April 15, 2023, a Sudanese MiG-29 was captured on video firing missiles over Khartoum during a skirmish with paramilitary forces. A month later, on May 25, 2023, another MiG-29 was filmed being shot down by the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, over Omdurman. The pilot ejected and survived but was wounded and captured. United States. In 1997, the United States purchased 21 MiG-29s from Moldova under the Nunn-Lugar Cooperative Threat Reduction Program. 14 of these were MiG-29S models equipped with active radar jammers and capable of carrying nuclear weapons. The U.S. made this purchase to prevent the aircraft from being sold to Iran and to gain insights into the MiG-29's capabilities for potential use in dissimilar air combat training. The MiGs were delivered to the National Air and Space Intelligence Center, NASIC, at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. Many of the aircraft are believed to have been scrapped, but some remain on display at various U.S. bases, including Nellis AFB in Nevada and Goodfellow AFB in Texas. Others. A Cuban MiG-29 UB gained notoriety in 1996 when it shot down 2 Cessna 337s belonging to the Brothers to the Rescue organization after the aircraft approached Cuban airspace. During the 1999 Eritrean-Ethiopian War, there were reports that Eritrean MiG-29s were engaged by Ethiopian Su-27s, which were piloted by Russian mercenaries. Some reports claim that Eritrean MiG-29s managed to shoot down 2 Ethiopian MiG-21s and 3 MiG-23s. However, the claim that an Eritrean MiG-29 shot down an Ethiopian Su-25 was later debunked. The missing Su-25 was damaged in an accident and is stored for spares at Bishof 2 Air Base. As of 2022, the Bangladesh Air Force operated 8 MiG-29s, including 6 MiG-29Bs and 2 MiG-29UBs. In Yemen, after the end of the 1994 civil war, the newly reunified nation inherited several intact MiG-29s that had been purchased by South Yemen just months before the war. Yemen later received 2 additional MiG-29s from Kazakhstan in 1995-1996. In 2001, Yemen signed a major arms deal to purchase up to 36 upgraded MiG-29s, with deliveries beginning in June 2002. These aircraft, equipped with advanced radar and fire control systems, became the most advanced combat aircraft in the Yemeni Air Force, capable of deploying Kh-31P and Kh-29T missiles, as well as R-77 air-to-air missiles. Potential operators and failed bids. Before the Soviet Union dissolved, Finland followed a procurement policy that balanced between Western, Eastern, and domestic suppliers. The Finnish Air Force considered replacing its aging MiG-21 fighters with the MiG-29 up until 1988. Test flights were even conducted, but ultimately, the MiG-29 was not chosen. In the latter half of the 1980s, the Soviet Union attempted to sell the MiG-29 to Libya. However, the offer was declined by the Libyan Arab Air Force. They assessed the MiG-29's weapon system and radar as comparable to the MiG-23 MLD, which was already in service. Additionally, the price of the MiG-29 was considered too high, making it an unattractive option for Libya. During 1989-1990, following the Soviet withdrawal from Afghanistan, the Soviet Union delivered a significant amount of military hardware, including 49 helicopters and 125 aircraft. The Democratic Republic of Afghanistan requested MiG-29s for its air force, but this request was turned down. In 1989, Zimbabwe placed an order with the USSR for a squadron's worth of MiG-29s. Air Force of Zimbabwe personnel were even sent to Russia for training. However, by 1992, the deal was cancelled as the geopolitical situation in the region had stabilized, reducing the perceived need for such advanced aircraft. In December 2008, Russia aimed to expand its military influence in the Middle East by announcing a gift of 10 MiG-29 fighter jets to Lebanon. This would have marked a significant upgrade for the Lebanese military, which had not seen such an enhancement since the end of its civil war nearly 2 decades earlier. However, by February 2010, Lebanon requested a change, and Russia agreed to provide 10 Mi-24 attack helicopters instead. More recently, in 2021, Russia offered the Argentine Air Force a package deal that included 15 MiG-29 fighters and 12 Su-30 fighters, along with additional equipment such as Yak-130 training jets and Mi-17 helicopters. However, the outcome of this offer remains uncertain. Variants: original Soviet MiG-29 versions. MiG-29, Product 9.12, Fulcrum A. This was the initial production version of the MiG-29, developed for the Soviet Air Force. It entered service in 1983 and was equipped with the Phasitron N019 Rubin radar, OEPS-29 optical electronic sighting system, and a helmet-mounted sight. NATO designated this version as Fulcrum A. MiG-29, Product 9.12A, Fulcrum A. An export version of the 9.12 model, this variant was specifically designed for Warsaw Pact countries. It featured downgraded systems, including the RPLK-29E radar, OEPR-NK-29E optoelectric and navigation systems, and older identification friend or foe, IFF, transponders. Unlike the Soviet version, this model could not deliver nuclear weapons. Countries such as East Germany, Czechoslovakia, Poland, and Romania received this version. MiG-29, Product 9.12B, Fulcrum A. This was a further downgraded export version of the 9.12 model, intended for non-Warsaw Pact countries. It included simpler radar and avionics compared to the 9.12A. Nations like India, Iraq, Syria, North Korea, Cuba, Malaysia, Myanmar, and Eritrea received this variant. MiG-29UB, Product 9.51, Fulcrum B. The MiG-29 UB was a twin-seat training model of the MiG-29, primarily used for pilot training. Unlike the combat versions, it was equipped only with an infrared sensor and lacked radar. NATO referred to this model as Fulcrum B. MiG-29, Product 9.13, Fulcrum C. This was an updated version of the initial MiG-29, entering service in 1986. NATO designated it as Fulcrum C. The 9.13 model featured an enlarged dorsal spine to house a larger No. 1 fuel tank and the L203B GARDENYIA-1 jammer, which was absent in the 9.12 version. This enlarged spine earned the 9.13 and its successors the nickname Fatback. MiG-29, Product 9.13B, Fulcrum C. An export variant of the 9.13, this model was assembled in North Korea between 1991 and 1992 using semi-knockdown kits. While it retained the GARDENYIA-1 jammer, it had downgraded avionics and no IFF system. Some sources claim that the Gardenia jammer was not delivered to North Korea. MiG-29S, Product 9.13S, Fulcrum C. The MiG-29S was an advanced version of the original 9.13 model, retaining the NATO reporting name, Fulcrum C. It featured significant improvements, including a flight control system with 4 new computers that enhanced stability and control, allowing for a higher angle of attack, AOA, by 2 degrees. The aircraft could carry additional fuel with underwing drop tanks and a centerline tank, and had an increased payload capacity of 4,000 kilograms, 8,800 lb, thanks to the tandem pylon arrangement on the inboard underwing hardpoints. The overall maximum gross weight was increased to 20,000 kilograms, 44,000 lb. This variant also included the new Phasitron N019M radar and built-in test equipment, BITE, to reduce dependency on ground support. It was developed in response to security compromises, and only a limited number were produced before the Soviet Union's collapse. Upgraded variants based on the original MiG-29 airframe. MiG-29S, Product 9.12S. This post-Soviet upgrade was developed for the older 9.12 variants, incorporating many of the enhancements from the 9.13S model. MiG-29SD, Product 9.12SD. An export variant of the upgraded 9.12S. This model features downgraded versions of radar and avionics. MiG-29SE, Product 9.13SE, an export variant of the 9.13S. This version includes a slightly downgraded N019ME radar capable of multiple target tracking and compatibility with the RVVAE R-77 missile. This model was the first export MiG-29 to include underwing drop tanks, with the inner pylons capable of carrying over 500 kilograms, 1,100 lb, bombs in tandem pairs. The MiG-29 SE can engage 2 air targets simultaneously and can be equipped with active ECM systems, improved weapons guidance aids, and enhanced training systems. MiG-29 SM, Product 9.13M, Fulcrum C. Similar to the 9.13, this variant has the capability to carry guided air-to-surface missiles, as well as TV and laser-guided bombs. It retains the NATO reporting name, Fulcrum C. MiG-29 SM, SYAF, developed for the Syrian Air Force. This variant is based on the MiG-29 SM but uses the 9.12 airframe. RAC MiG created this special version tailored for Syria. MiG-29G, MiG-29GT. These were East German MiG-29 29th UB aircraft upgraded to NATO standards. The work was carried out by MiG Aircraft Product Support GmbH, MAPS, a joint venture between MiG Moscow Aviation Production Association and Daimler Chrysler Aerospace in 1993. MiG-29S, MiG-29 UBS. The Slovak Air Force upgraded their MiG-29, MiG-29 UB fleet for NATO compatibility starting in 2005. The upgrades included navigation and communication systems from Rockwell Collins, an IFF system from BAE Systems, and new glass cockpit features such as multifunction liquid crystal displays, LCDs, and digital processors. However, the aircraft's armament remained unchanged. MiG-29 Sniper. This upgrade was planned for the Romanian Air Force by DASA, Aerostar, and Elbit. The upgrade included a new modular multi-role computer, upgraded Western avionics, hybrid navigation system, improved radar warning receiver, RWR, and HOTAS controls. Despite its potential, The program was halted, and the Romanian MiG-29s were retired in 2003 in favor of further investment in the MiG-21 Lancer program. MiG-29 SMT, Product 9.17, an upgrade for first-generation MiG-29s, 9.12 to 9.13. The SMT model incorporates features from the MiG-29M. It includes additional fuel tanks, an enhanced HOTAS cockpit design with color LCDs, and improved JUC-ME radar for air-to-ground operations. The SMT also boasts upgraded ROAD 33 Series 3 engines, increasing the aircraft's weapons load to 4,500 kilograms, 9,900 lb, and allowing integration of non-Russian avionics and weapons. MiG-29BM. The MiG-29BM is a Belarusian upgrade, similar to the MiG-29 SMT, with improvements in radar, weapons, and air-to-air refueling capabilities. The Bangladesh Air Force also upgraded its MiG-29s to a similar standard. MiG-29 UBT, Product 9.51T. This SMT standard upgrade is for the MiG-29 UB, primarily used by Algeria and Yemen. MiG-29 UPG. A variant specifically for the Indian Air Force, the UPG is similar to the SMT but includes a foreign-made avionics suite, JUC-M radar, RD-33 Series 3 engines, and the DRDO, DARE D-29 electronic warfare system. MiG-29 SMP, MiG-29 UBP. These are custom upgrades for the Peruvian Air Force. The SMP, single-seat, and UBP, twin-seat, variants include improved ECM, avionics, sensors, and a modern radar system. The upgrades also extend the aircraft's service life and add in-flight refueling capability. MiG-29 MU-1. A Ukrainian modernization focusing on extending the service life and improving avionics. MiG-29 MU-2. A further Ukrainian upgrade emphasizing the aircraft's air-to-ground capabilities. These upgrades have helped extend the operational life and enhance the combat capabilities of the MiG-29 across various air forces worldwide. Second-generation variants with modified airframe. MiG-29M, MiG-33, Product 9.15. This advanced multi-role variant features a redesigned airframe with significant improvements. The mechanical flight controls were replaced by a fly-by-wire system, and the aircraft is powered by enhanced RD-33 3M engines. Known by the NATO reporting name, Fulcrum E, the MiG-29M was designed for greater versatility in combat roles, allowing for both air-to-air and air-to-ground missions. MiG-29 UBM, Product 9.61, planned as a two-seat training variant of the MiG-29M, the MiG-29 UBM was never built. The development of this variant continued under the designation MiG-29 M2. MiG-29 M2, MiG-29 MRCA. A two-seat version of the MiG-29M, the MiG-29 M2 shares identical characteristics with the single-seat variant but has a slightly reduced ferry range of 1,800 kilometers, 1,100 miles. It was showcased at various international air shows, including the 5th China International Aviation and Aerospace Exhibition, CIAAE 2004, and Aero India 2005. Initially designated MiG-29 MRCA for marketing purposes, this variant evolved into the MiG-35. MiG-29 OVT. This aircraft started as one of the 6 pre-built MiG-29 MIs before 1991 and was later equipped with thrust vectoring engines and fly-by-wire technology. It served as a testbed and technology demonstrator for thrust vectoring capabilities, featuring 2 ROAD 133 engines with 3D rotating nozzles for vector thrust deflection in all directions. The MiG-29 OVT is primarily used as an aerobatic demonstrator and has been showcased alongside the MiG-29 M2 at various air shows. MiG-29K, Product 9.31, a naval variant based on the MiG-29M, the MiG-29K was designed for carrier-based operations, featuring folding wings, arrestor gear, and reinforced landing gear. The K in its designation stands for Korabelnogo Bazirovania, deck-based. Originally intended for Admiral Kuznetsov-class aircraft carriers, its development was initially halted in 1992 due to changing military priorities and financial constraints. However, the program was revived in 1999. The MiG-29K, along with the two-seat MiG-29 Cub, was contracted by the Indian Navy in 2004. These variants feature radar-absorbing coatings, advanced cockpit displays, and a full range of weapons compatible with the MiG-29M and MiG-29 SMT. NATO reporting name is Fulcrum D. MiG-29 Cub, Product 9.47. This variant is a two-seat version of the MiG-29K, designed as a trainer for MiG-29K pilots, but it is fully combat capable. The MiG-29 Cub shares the same advanced features as the MiG-29K, including radar-absorbing coatings and modern avionics. The first MiG-29 Cub developed for the Indian Navy made its maiden flight in January 2007. NATO reporting name is Fulcrum D. MiG-35. The MiG-35 is an advanced development of the MiG-29M, M2 and MiG-29K, KUB variants, featuring enhanced avionics, weapon systems, and airframe modifications. This variant represents the latest evolution of the MiG-29 family and carries the NATO reporting name, Fulcrum F. Airworthy MiG-29 aircraft. United States. N-29UB, MiG-29 UB. This aircraft is currently owned by Jared Isaacman, a notable entrepreneur and pilot. It was previously part of the Flying Heritage Collection in Everett, Washington. The MiG-29 UB was acquired from Eastern Europe in early 2009. The aircraft has an FAA-approved maintenance program and is fully flyable. N129XX, MiG-29 UB, owned by Air USA and based at the Quincy Regional Airport in Quincy, Illinois. This MiG-29 UB was purchased by Don Kurlin from Kyrgyzstan. It is operational and available for contract training and flight testing. Additional information. In the spring of 2009, 2 more MiG-29 UBs in flying condition were offered for sale from Eastern Europe. These aircraft originated from the same source as the N129 UB, which was formerly owned by the Historic Flight Foundation and is now owned by Jared Isaacman. The MiG-29, with its storied history and global presence, remains a symbol of Soviet engineering excellence and adaptability. From its first flight in the late 1970s to its continued service and upgrades today, this aircraft has proven its worth across numerous conflicts and in the hands of many nations. Whether stationed in museums, on display as historical artifacts, or still airworthy and in active use, the MiG-29's legacy endures. As aviation enthusiasts and historians look back on its impact, the Fulcrum continues to be a testament to the technological advancements and strategic thinking of its time. Its ongoing service and preservation efforts around the world ensure that the MiG-29 will be remembered and revered for generations to come.